David, you've helped us with an overview of the work of William Damon and some of your work and others, where we get an overview of this landscape where prolonged adolescence, prolonged periods of emerging adulthood have resulted in this purposelessness. But Damon and you see positives, not just negatives, in this period of life. What are the positives that you've noticed?
Yes, I want to start with the work of Damon and Benson. Peter Benson, more specifically, has written extensively on the good news. If the bad news is purposelessness, the good news is that every child, every adolescent, every young adult has some spark of purpose that can be fanned into flames of vocation. And so Damon and Benson talk about sparks as those things that you feel strongly about, those things that make it worth getting up in the morning, those things where you lose yourself, as you're involved in them, motivated not from outside, externally, but from the inside. Sometimes we see sparks. Young people see sparks as their purpose for being in the world, but they see sparks as this potential, coil spring that can, if noticed, named, and nurtured, that can result in a full-blown life of vocation. Just to tell you one story that we talked about in the session is the story of great story, I think, of Ryan Hereljic, six-year-old first grader in Toronto, Canada, whose teacher was teaching a section on Africa, and she told the children about this place that had no water. The wells, there were no wells, and the water was too dirty for their crops or for their cattle or for their own hygiene or sustenance. And so for some reason, this really struck Ryan. And so Ryan, at 6 years old, decided that he was going to spend the next year of his life raising money for those children to dig wells. And at the end of that year, Ryan had raised only $76. So Ryan's parents gathered around him friends and other folks who could help him reflect on his task and his project. And so they brought around people who were expert at fundraising, at public speaking, at digging wells. And make a long story short, Ryan graduated from high school a couple of years ago, and at that point he and his nonprofit organization had raised enough money, raised over $500,000 for digging wells in Africa. And the point is that we're inattentive to the sparks in our children at our own risk and at the risk of the world. I mean, I think, so Damon and Benson are arguing that parents and families, and I would say extended families and communities, can be spark champions for young people. Help be attentive, noticing young people and helping name their gifts, their signature gifts and sparks, making space in the rhythm of the family for them to cultivate those sparks, and finding resources to gather around them as they're exploring and developing their sparks and their commitment to those purposes and projects. So I think it's really important work, and Damon and Benson have done us a great service in that.